Maracaibo, Venezuela's oil capital, and the powerhouse of this country's economy for most of the last century. It was here in 1922 that prospectors made a find that is still the stuff of legend amongst oilmen. This monument marks the spot where their drill struck oil. Hundreds of thousands of gallons of crude rained down on the surrounding houses for 9 days before it was capped. It was the first indication that Venezuela had enormous oil wealth, a game changer for the nation.
Bear in mind that well into the 20th century, Venezuela was still a very undeveloped country, almost feudal. Practically the only exports Venezuela had were coffee and cocoa. The arrival of oil became an extremely important source of income and foreign currency for the country.
Soon, foreign money and companies poured into the country. By the 1940s, it was undergoing an infrastructure transformation. And on Lake Maracaibo, a forest of drilling platforms grew. In the space of just 2 decades, Venezuela had become the third biggest petroleum producer in the world. So in the 1950s, if you were an oil executive, there was a good chance you'd be relocated to Venezuela.
Por favor, señor, ¿dónde está mi equipage?
This in-house film by one American company was designed to prepare employees for the move.
We're here in the United States, and Daddy is down here in Venezuela.
As it turned out, this film was made just before an oil slump. And the last 60 years have seen a series of ups and downs in the world oil price, which Venezuela's fortunes have in part mirrored. Maracaibo today sometimes looks stuck in the past. The cars, the shops, are all from more prosperous times. Close to where that first discovery was made in 1922, much of Lake Maracaibo is now an abandoned, polluted mess.
This
is all Venezuela's got, this man told us. There lies a clue to the problem. Venezuela is sometimes cited as a prime example of what's called the resource curse, where a country lazily gets so used to the easy money that a single resource produces, it falls into inefficiency, corruption, and even ruin.
Our problem as a single export country has been that when the oil prices are going up, we always think they're never going to go down, and so we make no preparation for when they do. And when they are low, we think they'll never recover. We're always caught between a crisis of shortage and a crisis of plenty, and we're not prepared for either.
It was almost exactly a century ago that it was discovered that there was a bonanza of oil under this ground close to this city. It is perhaps a good time to ask whether that has really benefited Venezuela. Outside Maracaibo's cathedral, we pose the question, has oil been a blessing or a curse?
The problem is not whether or not we have oil. The problem is the government that administers it, this wealth that our country has.
Venezuela, which has more oil than Saudi Arabia, is an extreme example of a country that has squandered its fortune. Does the history of oil here offer a lesson to the world? Perhaps it's this: don't expect the good times to last forever and plan ahead. Stephen Gibbs, CGTN, Maracaibo.